In 2002, the Women's Health Initiative released findings from a large clinical study involving hormone therapy. The headlines were immediate and frightening. They said hormone replacement therapy increases breast cancer risk, and that hormone replacement therapy increases cardiovascular risk. Those headlines shaped public opinion for years, but the full story was much more complicated. Before the WHI findings, hormone replacement therapy was often viewed not only as symptom relief, but also as a way to prevent or treat chronic postmenopausal conditions like osteoporosis, urogenital symptoms, hot flashes, and night sweats. After the study, many doctors stopped recommending it broadly, and women stopped using it. For about 2 decades, the result was undertreatment and underuse. The way those findings were communicated didn't just create confusion. In my opinion, it created sweeping fear around an entire category of care. HRT was often treated as though it were automatically dangerous for menopausal women. HRT was no longer framed as a broad preventative therapy for menopausal women, and this is where the subject becomes personal for me. I came very close to becoming one of the millions of women who never had a conversation about HRT for their menopausal transition. Fortunately, I found a doctor willing to consider my perimenopausal symptoms and discuss bioidentical hormone replacement therapy with me. Because of that doctor-guided approach, I had a remarkably manageable menopause journey, and that's the one reason this conversation matters so much to me. A really good friend recommended I look into HRT, and what I learned changed my life, and I want you to at least research your menopausal options and discuss them with a doctor. I really just want to do my part to ensure that no woman is frightened away from asking informed questions about this. My personal experience is exactly why I want to start this conversation, to make sure you get the full picture. Stay with me to the end because I'm going to break down what the headlines left out and the questions every woman should be asking their doctor before making a decision about menopausal HRT. Hi, I'm Cathy Bracken, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to drop by and hang out with me for a bit. Don't forget to subscribe, tap that notification bell, and give the video a thumbs up. Your support this way allows me to continue creating my unique brand of self-improvement content aimed at educating, empowering, and inspiring positive transformation in you, the viewer. This is video 7 in our Menopause and Metabolic Health series, and today we're talking about one of the most misunderstood subjects in women's health today, menopausal hormonal replacement therapy. Before we begin, I need to make clear that my role is that of an educator. I am not here to diagnose you or tell you what medical decisions to make. I am simply here to help you understand the history, terminology, and questions you may want to discuss with a qualified healthcare professional. To understand why HRT became so frightening for so many women, we need to look more closely at what the WHI actually studied and what the early headlines left out. The Women's Health Initiative was not one single experiment involving one identical hormone therapy for every woman. The hormone portion included different treatment groups. One studied estrogen plus progesterone, and another studied estrogen alone in women who had undergone a hysterectomy. But when the results reached the public, much of that detail disappeared. The findings were generalized. Hormone therapy is dangerous. The study itself was designed to look at whether hormone therapy could help prevent major chronic conditions in primarily older postmenopausal women. It was not designed to answer every question about symptom relief during perimenopause, newer treatment approaches, or every hormone formulation used today. The average age of the women in the hormone trials was 63, which matters because many of the participants were well past perimenopause and even menopause. The combined estrogen and progesterone trials raised concerns about stroke, blood clots, and breast cancer risks, and those findings were important, but the estrogen alone trial didn't show the exact same pattern. That's why hormone therapy is not one single category with one predictable outcome. The type of hormone matters, the combination matters, the timing matters, the age and health history of the woman matters, and the reason for considering treatment matters. We also need to be careful with the word risk. Relative risk and absolute risk can tell very different stories, and a reasonable conversation shouldn't hide risk, but it should also not present risk without context. The original public messaging made many women believe HRT was broadly unsafe, regardless of their age, symptoms, or health history. That message was too broad, but the opposite message would be too broad also. HRT is not automatically safe simply because a woman has menopausal symptoms. The right approach must be individualized. One of the most important developments in this conversation is the growing recognition that timing matters. There can be a meaningful difference between starting hormone therapy in perimenopause versus starting it several years after menopause or even after 60. For some healthy women under 60 or within 10 years of menopause, the potential benefits and risks look very different than they would for someone beginning much later. But even then, that doesn't mean everyone in a particular group is a good candidate, and it doesn't mean earlier use removes every risk. For women in postmenopause, the discussion may be even more individualized. Some postmenopausal women still have significant symptoms, and HRT may be a good fit for their bone health, sleep, and quality of life. There's no simple rule that every woman must start or stop at one specific age. At the same time, starting at any time requires careful evaluation of one's age, blood pressure, clotting history, cancer history, cardiovascular health, medications, and other risk factors that can change the benefit-risk balance. So the question should not simply be, am I too old? A better conversation is, what are we treating? And what are my risks? And what options do I have? And how will we monitor this over time? Another issue that was often left out of public conversation is the formulation and delivery methods, and they matter. HRT delivery methods include oral tablets, transdermal patches, injections, subcutaneous pellets, and topical creams. These are not interchangeable. They differ in how the body absorbs them and how risk may be evaluated. A provider may consider whether oral or transdermal therapy is more appropriate based on a woman's individual risk factors. That doesn't mean one method is automatically better than the next. It means delivery methods are part of the decision. And the type of estrogen matters too. And for women who still have a uterus, protecting the uterine lining may be part of the discussion when systemic estrogen is considered. That's why women should not compare one person's HRT experience to another as though the treatments were identical. One woman may be using estrogen alone, another using estrogen with progesterone, and another an entirely different delivery method. If HRT didn't work for someone, it may be worth asking whether the formulation, timing, or treatment goal needs to be reassessed. Now let's talk about the benefits and limitations of hormone replacement therapy. The menopausal transition begins with changes in ovarian hormone production, specifically the decline in estrogen. That decline can affect temperature regulation, sleep, mood, sex and urinary health, bone health, cardiovascular health, metabolic health, and brain function. For the right candidate, HRT may relieve symptoms and help address some consequences of estrogen loss. The strongest established benefits are relief of hot flashes and the prevention of bone loss. Early treatment may also support cardiovascular and brain health during the right timing window. So for many women, this conversation should not be about just treating symptoms. It should also be about protecting your quality of life and supporting your body through a major hormonal transition. Younger, healthier women who begin this therapy closer to menopause generally have a more favorable benefit-risk profile than women who begin much later. But HRT is not a one identical treatment for every woman. The right approach may depend on your stage of menopause, your symptoms, whether you have a uterus, the formulations used, the delivery method, your family history, and your cardiovascular, metabolic, breast, and bone health. This is not about saying every woman should use hormone therapy. It's about recognizing that for an appropriate menopausal candidate, early HRT may be part of a preventative-oriented health strategy and not just a response to symptoms. Now, if you are seriously considering HRT, here are a few key questions to bring to your doctor. Am I a candidate for HRT based on my symptoms and health history? If so, what type of HRT would you recommend and why? What are my individual risk factors and how do they affect the decision for me? What are the non-HRT alternatives for my specific symptoms? If I'm postmenopausal, am I still within or near the critical timing window? Am I a candidate for low-dose vaginal estrogen or urogenital symptoms? If I start HRT, how will we monitor whether it's working? And if I choose not to pursue HRT, what is our plan for bone, cardiovascular, and metabolic health? These questions turn a vague conversation into a truly individualized one. Now, there's a free resource created for this series called the Menopause Health Starter Kit. It includes a personal metabolic health audit, an HRT appointment questionnaire, and a GLP-1 appointment guide with questions to bring to your healthcare provider. You'll find the link to a free download in the description box below. Now, in our final video of the series, we're going to tie together everything that we've covered into a complete guide to thriving in every stage of menopause. We'll recap hormonal changes, metabolic health, lifestyle strategies, GLP-1 therapy, and hormone replacement therapy, and turn it all into a practical plan you can use moving forward. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the notification bell, give the video a thumbs up, and share. I'm Cathy Bracken, and until next time, make today amazing and be well.